So the person, no, back then, I don't know, did they have cameras in the jail at that time?
No, there wasn't no cameras down.
So the person who did it could likely get away with it at that time.
Yeah. Unless somebody that was dead went to the people and told them. I mean, but wasn't no cameras back then, man. Like it do, like I seen so much stuff happen down Graysford, man. That joint was like, it was like a horror story, but it was like a gift and a curse, because when I did the little months down Graysford, I ain't gonna sit here and sugarcoat it. I ain't learned nothing, because it was like I was still back on the street.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we did. We walked the hallway, we gambled, you know what I mean? We ran the yard. Yeah, I trained. I was in the gym. I was still boxing and whatever. But it was like we was on the street. You know what I mean? It wasn't nobody, the old heads, they was going to college. That's when they was giving, dudes was going to college for free.
Getting the college
degrees.
courses.
Yeah, they was getting degrees and all that. Old head John Griffin, old head boy Tyrone Works, all them dudes, man, they was smart. They had organizations, like they had the Lifers food. You can buy the Lifers food down there. You know what I mean? They had Nudie Mims, them guys ran that joint, man, with a tight fist. Them dudes, they was trying to pull us up on game, but, we was young boys, 20, 21, 22.
I'm not trying to hear none of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's I respect my old, and I ain't going to say nothing smart to him in front of his face, but, oh, man, I don't want to hear that.
I see that old head always talk, man, get out
old
of here.
head tripping.
It's talking about Noonie Mims.
Yeah.
And with the rest of them, because you getting the thought like, man, they mad at the world, they all old and mad, but they really knew something.
Yeah, they knew something. And one thing about them dudes, man, they had knowledge. Like some of the things Nudie used to say to me, man, because Nudie and my dad came up together down Richard Island Projects, because he used to live down Richard Island before he moved down 11th and Dolphin.
Okay.
I mean, so Nudie and my dad, Reggie Coles, all them guys, they came up together. Black Bart, all them guys, they came up together. So Nudie knew me when I was a baby. You know what I mean? Him, my dad, my mom, all of them, they grew up together. So, you know what I mean? That was my old head. Like, it was like my father figure. And
he was trying to give you game in the prison.
Yeah, he had history under his belt, man. Like, he used to tell me about when he was the bodyguard for Elijah Muhammad. You know what I mean? Like, I remember back in the day when I was a kid, when he had the ice cream stand on Germantown and Huntington. You know what I mean? Like, them dudes, like, back then it was real brotherhood, man. Like, those guys, like, the men of today are nothing like the men of back then. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like,
I agree.
They pulled your coat. Yeah, it was a few old heads that put a battery in your back, but for the most part, the old heads, they was about helping each other. Bo Baines, Jeremiah Shabazz, Lonnie Dawson, all those guys like that, man. Those guys, man, even though they was young, they was giving the game to the young boys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They was about doing for the community. Because back then in our neighborhood, wasn't no Chinese stores and nothing like that. No, it was all black. All black. North Philly, South Philly, West Philly. I don't know what year the Chinese, all these Chinese stores and stuff start opening up. But for the most part, everything was black owned. Mainly in South Philly. South Philly, y'all, the only thing that wasn't black was 9th Street. 9th and, what's that, Washington? Everything else was basically black. Or the Italians, when the Italians had their little thing wherever down there, down 9th Street. But other than that, everything else was black.
Wow. So you get out, right? You get out. You said that you did 7-8 months, and you said you didn't, like you just was still on the streets. So what was your next case you court? And
I wound up catching another shooting the following year. Wound up getting locked back up, and then I got a shooting, and then I wound up getting into it with a cop. There was a cop down my way. Well, he used to patrol my neighborhood back in the day. Me and him had a little feud or whatever, but it wasn't nothing to me. Like, we had words or whatever. So one day he came down there. I'm parked at the top of my block, and he was behind me. I didn't know he was a cop. So he jumped out the car. Yo, move your effing car out the way. He was in plain clothes. His girl was getting high. She was from down the way. So she would tell us, you know, he coming down, watch yourself, yada, yada, yada. And he had his car in the street like, yo, move your effing car out the street. But I seen him reaching, like he was reaching for a gun. So I'm looking at my rear view mirror, and in my passenger mirror, I'm looking. So he walking up to my car. So I jumped out the car like, yo, what's up? Like, man, move your effing car out the street. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna move my car. So like, nigga, move your car now. So we wound up having words again. So he acted like he was reaching for a John. He wound up shooting me, and I wound up shooting him. I wound up going back for that. He said I pulled a gun out on him, blah, blah, blah. He pulled the gun out on me.
You didn't even know he was a cop.
And identified himself as a cop. So I wound up getting locked up.
Where you get hit at? Where you get shot at?
I got shot in my neck right here.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But it was, you know what I mean? It was ugly because I didn't even know he shot me. I got in the car and I pulled off. When I got in the car, I see blood on my shirt. I'm like, what the hell? Nigga shot me in my neck.
So you had to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I wound up getting rid of the gun. Went to the hospital. Coincidentally, he there. That's him.
Where he get hit at?
He got hit in the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So it was like.
And they locked you up there on the spot.
Locked me up on the spot. Wound up getting locked up. Went back. Wound up going back to jail. I had to do my violation time first. Then I turned over to the new number. You know what I mean, they maxed me out on my last number, and then I turned over to the new number.
And how much time you got for that?
2.5 to 5.
Oh, 2.5 to 5?
Yeah, but then I went back and I gave back, I think I gave back maybe like a year. So I wound up doing like a year and a half. You know what I mean? So they kept saying when I got shot, they were saying I was going to be paralyzed, this, that, and the third. I went back in the gym, started training again. Then they started letting me leave Greatest Fit to go out the box.
Yeah, Bernard mentioned that. Yeah. So let me ask you this. You talking about boxing. You know, what inspired you to box, though? What, and how old was you when you started?
Well, my grandfather was a boxer back in the day. My grandfather was a boxer, so I used to watch him, my uncles, a lot of my cousins, a couple of my brothers boxed. So I just basically, for real, from the beginning, I didn't like boxing. I ain't really like fighting for real. But I was forced to fight because I had a bunch of sisters, and, you know, I was the smallest out the crew, so, you know, and I'm always outside, so I liked to fight, but I didn't like to box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my grandfather used to put me in the ring with my cousins, and they used to beat the brakes off me until I learned
how to box.
How to box.